thank you for coming this afternoon. I know it's a really busy time of the year for all of us, but whenever we can have the opportunity to have what we all call a professional development session for us, I think it's nice that even though sometimes we're twisted, our arms are twisted to attend, I think once we get here, we can kind of just take a deep breath and say, okay, I'm going to focus. I'm going to focus for the next hour and 45 minutes because this is really for me. And it's really for me to be able to focus on my trade, right? And our trade is student success. Our trade is being involved with students. And really take at least one thing away this afternoon for what we might be able to apply. So thank you very much for attending. It's great to see faculty, staff here today. I think you'll find that Dr. Tinto is going to be extremely engaging. Before we get started, I want to recognize 3 board members. I think, we've been inviting our board members to events, and I appreciate the fact that when they can, they're very busy, they do attend. So 3 board members. I don't think there are more. If there are, please let me know if I missed you. But we do have 3 board members here. If you would please stand, I would appreciate it. So we have Claire Johansson, Dan Reineke, and Larry Allersberger. We really appreciate it. Okay, so many of us have spent the last day and a half with Vince and really, really appreciate what he's already shared with us. And I've already learned that he's quite humble and doesn't like a lot of introductions. But I do believe he's earned the right to have me explain some of his background. I'll be it brief. It's pretty impressive. So his bio is as follows. Vincent Tinto is a distinguished university professor emeritus at Syracuse University and the former chair of the higher education program. He has carried out research and has written extensively on higher education, particularly on student success and the impact of learning communities on student growth and attainment. His book, Leading College, published by the University of Chicago Press, lays out a theory and policy perspective on student success that is considered the benchmark by which work on these issues are judged. His most recent book, Completing College, also published by the University of Chicago Press, lays out a framework for institutional action for student success, describes the range of programs that have been effective in enhancing student success, and the types of policies institutions should follow to successfully implement programs in ways that endure and scale up over time. Dr. Tinto has received numerous recognitions and awards. He was awarded the 2015 Harry S. Truman Award by the American Association of Community Colleges, the Council of Educational Opportunity Walter O. Mason 2012 Award for his work on retention of low-income students, the Council of Independent Colleges 2008 Academic Leadership Award, the National Institute for Staff Development International 2008 Leadership Award, and was named Distinguished Fellow. Most recently, he was named the recipient of the 2015 President Harry S. Truman Award for the American Association of Community Colleges for his work with community colleges across America. He has some notable 50 publications, including books, research reports, and journal articles, to his credit, and has lectured across the United States, Australia, Canada, Europe, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, and South America. From 1990 to 1996, he was an associate director of the National Center for Teaching, Learning, and Assessment. He has worked with a number of organizations, foundations, and government agencies on issues of student success and sits on a number of advisory boards, including the Community College Survey of Student Engagement and the Lumina Foundation. He has earned his BS from Fordham in Physics and Philosophy, his MS from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Physics and Mathematics, and his PhD from the University of Chicago in Education and Sociology. It is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Vincent Tinto to Tiffin University.
Can you hear me now? Good. Thank you for this kind introduction. I must confess, I've heard that before because I wrote that. That's why it's so balanced and effective. But it's fair to say I've been the beneficiary of spending a lot of time working with institutions across the country. And my concern is particularly the immigrant background, on the child of an immigrant family, work with those who are first in their family to go to college. This is part of what I do. But in saying that, let me just say to you, I'm not here, no matter how much I've written or how much I've spoken, to tell you and Tiffin what to do. That's not my job. I have no right to tell you what to do. My hope is in the time we have together this afternoon to share what we learned from other institutions that in situations like yours have been able to improve their rates of completion, first year and graduation. And therefore try to cite examples of the things they're doing, the sort of institutions that are like them that you should know about, the sort of initiatives going on across the country that you should know about, so that you can look into this yourself. Decide what's appropriate for our setting that we have to decide upon now. So it's not for me to tell you what to do. It's beyond presumptuous for me to even claim that. But nevertheless, I hope the presentation and what you learned about what institutions are doing is useful to you. But let me say important. The situation you face is not just the situation you alone are facing today. It's quite common that you're facing situations struggling with completion and enrollments and tuition and revenue and endowments. It's very common. So it's not like it's just Tiffin. It is a characteristic of the changing higher educational landscape in which we work. So that's important to know because there are institutions like yours that have faced the same situation and moving on. And the one thing they learn is that the past is the past. What you have to focus on is not just the past, it's already done, but not just the present, but where you want to be in the future. So the hope of this conversation is to say, where do you want to be 5 to 10 years from now? And what do you need to do or hope to do to achieve that goal? And that's the purpose of this session, looking toward the future. Over that, we have control. The past and the present, that's beyond our control. Even if you reinstall the Western. But gotta do that. No, that's Star Trek. Oh man. So that's what I want to share with you. What have we learned? And what lessons have we learned? Well, the first lesson is pretty clear. Oh, turn this on. Student success does not arise by chance. That is not a result of good intentions. And I know you're all well-intended, or else you wouldn't be here. It's a result of an intentional, structured, and coordinated form of action that brings together people around the campus, faculty, staff, members of the administration, and other members to work together to improve practice. They use data to analyze situations that need addressing. They use the data to improve practice and close equity gaps. That's what the institutions do. And they're structured because they assign offices and people who are responsible for directing that institutional coordination on behalf of student completion. It doesn't happen by chance. 2, of all the things we focus on, it's clear that first year matters most. And that's not surprising to you folks. You know the data. You lose about 38 to 39% of your students before they start the second year. And therefore, the opportunities for increased graduation, completion, is greatest in the first year. And even for those who don't leave at the end of the first year, their experience in the second year is a function of what they experience or do not experience in the first year. So the foundation of the first year, what they learn in the first year, is the foundation for their success. So I say learning because the object of completion and retention is not completion, it's education the object is our work. Our job is to provide this group of future citizens who have the educational background, the skills, and the habits of mind to be effective, powerful citizens in the future. And retention is only the vehicle by which we seek to achieve that goal. That's what it's about. Now, in terms of the goal of increasing completion, that particular goal, having students want to stay here, we know that it's one thing for institutions to ask how they retain students. It's another thing to ask the question, how do we act to lead our students to want to stay and complete in Tiffin? That's the test of that. See, institutions seek to retain students. Students don't seek to be retained. They seek to persist and complete. And so if I ask this question, what do we do to lead more students who come here to want to stay here, want to learn here, and want to complete here? That's the secret of effective improvement. Seeing the issue through the eyes of students. Right. So, what are institutions doing to address that retention and student persistent questions? If you look at what they're doing, they tend to focus on four main areas of issues. Now, in seeing this, let me just preface my comments. There are a lot of things that affect student completion on campus. Many of them are beyond your control. Let's be clear about that. Financial issues arise, family issues arise, personal issues arise with families when they have to move away of illness, and the things that pull them away. So when you begin is by asking other things that affect their willingness to persist. What are the things over which we have control now that we can do something about? And that means, in fact, there's only so much you can do to make completion increase. There's limits to what you can achieve, but that's true for all of us. So, given what institutions have control over, what do they focus on as ability to build a successful program of study which students want to finish? They focus on the first year, they focus on the first areas of the first year. Expectations. Students need one to know what to do to succeed. Simple as that. It's so obvious and simple. Remember, these are first generation students. They have no role models, they have often no information, and when they think about college, it's a function of what they see on television if they watch programs about college. So you need to focus, as you well know, on advising. It's critical.
I have to see what class to get to where I need to go. And for me anyways, if I didn't sit down and take that time, what's the point? I'd be taking classes that would be irrelevant, I would be getting the credits, it's always good to learn, but we have a goal. It's like, what progress am I making toward that goal?
She said several things. She said progress, when progress made. Now, for local students, that's money. Here you have quite a wonderful group population, I work with tree programs. It's money. And if they don't make adequate progress, they're spending money on courses that don't count to the degree, it really undermines their progression and completion. So it's not only progress, it's time and money, but having a clear sense of where they have to go. Advising is so critical for first year experience. That's why so many institutions are moving toward a model of having professional and trained advisors in the first year, work in liaison with faculty advising the program. Because not all faculty, in fact, very few faculty are trained in advising. It's a professional skill. So advising matters. So students need to know where to go, who to see, what courses to take. And even in classrooms for faculty, they need to know how to succeed in the classroom. And in college classrooms, it's different from high school. Thank goodness. Right? But just as important as clear expectations are, so too are higher expectations, folks. No one rises to low expectations. And let's be clear and honest with ourselves. A lot of students come from backgrounds or come from high schools where they never were held to high expectations. They end up with B+ averages and they don't learn very little. No one succeeds without high expectations.
When I came in, I had several teachers who would tell me, at the beginning, the first day of the class, you start out with an A. Don't lose your A. And that stuck with me. And even when I got in classes when the teacher didn't tell us that, my mind was stuck. I'm starting with an A. And I'm going to fight keep this A. And when that stuck, I took every semester as a challenge. And in every class, I was starting out with an A. And I was
Amen.
going to lose.
Amen. But that is not a trivial issue, folks. It always has to do with this notion of self-efficacy. You hear that term? Self-efficacy meaning literally the belief that one can succeed at a particular problem or test. A lot of students, given their backgrounds, don't really believe that. They doubt their abilities. Not surprising. In fact, all students struggle in their first year, and all students come to doubt, can they do this? But holding high expectations and thinking about how you shape students' belief in their capacity to succeed matters, especially in the first year. So the question is, how do you think about helping students believe and adopt the skills necessary to succeed? Each they think about this issue of self-efficacy. You've already heard this notion of studying doctorate and all that sort of stuff. Well, it turns out the best predictor of first semester success is not the student's self-efficacy, the belief in their ability at the beginning of the semester. It's that which is measured in the middle of the semester. So what you see happening among students is the ability, they come down themselves, and if they come to believe they can, with support, which we'll talk about next, they're more likely to succeed. It's their early experience that tells them a message. Can you succeed at Tiffin? Therefore, when you think about the first year, think about how you organize the experiences in the very beginning of the first year. And that's why, in holding high expectations, we need to provide support. Surprise, surprise. And no mystery. The important thing to realize is that students tend to, when they struggle, students tend to think it's just them. I know the experience, folks. I come from a low-income, uneducated healthcare. When I got to college, my parents had so much hopes for me. The first I was going to be to go to college. My father worked as a waiter his whole life to fund his two sons, Mario and Vincenzo. And when I was struggling, I couldn't convince my parents I was struggling because I think I was letting down the family. It was my fault. And I was lucky to discover that everyone in my class was struggling. It wasn't just me. It's the very nature of the college experience. No matter how your background is, the adjustment leads to struggle. So the important thing about support is making sure students don't see it as just them. But in turn, provide support. And of course, there's two forms, not only financial support, we know about the needs and struggles of low-income kids. The two important areas of support is both academic and social. The academic one is the fact that students need skills to succeed in the courses. If they don't succeed in the courses, that's why we focus so much on a whole range of support programs. A lot of universities who have provisional students, like you do, they have summer bridge programs. You have a summer bridge program? Well, you might consider it. The point of the summer bridge program, folks, and this is more common among two schools, but it's common among 4-year schools. Syracuse University had a summer bridge program, a 4-week program. It was called the boot camp. The kids worked hard, they loved it. Well, that's they tell us. Is that you want to avoid this situation when students come to the college so far behind the median requirement to succeed in the first year, they just exceeding are very small, without really very substantial investment resources. So the point of a summer bridge program is to bring them closer in an intensive 4-week program, 3-week program, so they're close enough to the median that with some degree of support they can succeed. So it's a very focused investment. But of course, there are other forms of support. The well-known freshman seminar is really a type of support program, if you think about what it can do. So you put in a course with this 1 credit or 3 credits of home activities which respond to the need for students to become students. So the first year is not just being a student, it's becoming a student. The first year is about. The goal of the first year is to construct students, help develop in students the capacity of mind, the skills of mind, and the membership to feel they want to belong in the college after this. The seminar can do that. And their foundational year programs, there are whole new years of schools now who are redesigning the first year entirely. You should look at the program by the American Association of State Colleges and Universities called Reimagining the First Year of College. It's a program funded by the Gates Foundation for 44 higher education institutions across the country to redesign the first year to respond specifically, in particular, but not only, to the needs of first generation and low-income states. They're saying we don't just need a course, we need to redesign the whole first year experience. But then there's actually very specific forms of academic support. Now, the secret of good academic support is not the support itself, per se, like tutoring incentives, learning incentives, you name it. It's the degree to which support, I don't want to get close to the speaker up here. The degree, I work on, you get the flow there. Should I do that for you? No, no. The degree to which support is connected to the classrooms in which students are trying to succeed. Repeat that. The success of support programs hinges upon the degree to which the support is directed to a specific class and the problems students face in trying to succeed in that individual course. You get it? It's called contextualization. The most common form of that, as you know, is supplemental instruction, and you have that, right? It's this. If the students show up, we'll talk about this, if the students show up, they attend supplemental study groups. Now, you probably don't need 4, you probably need 2 in your classes. 2 typically, 1 or 2, 1 or 2. These 2 people who tutor the course are often students who had taken the course before, right? And they work with the instructor, they work with her, so they know what is required, each class, 1 class at a time. And often, in your model, the tutors sit in the classroom, or they should. Now, what it means is that the tutors are providing support to these students, specifically to the problem of doing well in this course. That's contextualization. Now, on average, the research shows, as you probably know, supplemental instruction courses have higher grade point averages than courses without it. You know that. See this? That's not from the very typical thing. This is the College of San Mateo in sunny California, where I now live in previous. Well, I taught at Church University for 35 years. We averaged 10 feet of snow a winter. And 10 feet you had gray skies, you have no idea. Oh, man. Okay. This is what you see. In courses in math, comparison, same course without SI with SI. That's what you see. The trick is getting students to go. Right? Who teaches an SI course here? How often do students go? Where? Do you? And how do you get them to go? Oh, you bribe them. Can I be part of your course? No. The trick is getting students to go. And there's various techniques. One is bribing them. 2 is avoiding the tendency, you see the pictures? This profile? Oh, you have them already? Oh, sure. Okay. What typically happens in SI course, students come when? 5 minutes in. The fact is already is 2 major grade students. The trick is to make sure the course is either developed through a series of mini exams, which end up over the year to final exam grades, or the practice. There's other approaches, however. It's called co-requisite instruction. Anybody hear that term? Now, by the way, I'm going to share with you this presentation on PowerPoint. You can see references to the institutions I have, so you can have references to look at. Co-requisite instruction is this. Well, by the way, I want to just give you the video of a person in SI, and I'll tell you something about why it works. Here.
Well, thankfully, AMP has an SI student instructor, instructor. And what she does is it's a student who previously took the class, aced it, and knows this professor, this class, and get together once a week, twice a week sometimes, and go over the material that's being discussed in class, and anybody can come to it. And so I got to meet a lot of great people doing that, and we formed our own state group on top of that one, just to help us out a little bit more, but it has really saved me big time.
Saved me big time. You know what she said? We formed our own group. There's a secret here that's not a secret. Namely, students in group together do better than students on their own. Having students become part of a community of shared experience, however small, is the beginning block of the building of a larger community in which they feel they belong and which they want to stay. Students in groups do better than students on their own. But that doesn't arise by chance. Okay? Now, the co-requisite instruction model is this. Here, going to the supplemental unit is not left to chance. Here's a typical case. Students who may be called provisional, they are allowed to take the college level English course without taking the remedial course, which is presumably a prerequisite for the college level course. But to gain that benefit, not wasting money on a remedial course that doesn't count for credit, they must go to this workshop. It's built into the registration itself. It's simply a 3-hour course, 1-hour workshop that's adjacent in time. You go out to the workshop class, you go right to the workshop for an hour. You cannot be in this course without going to the workshop. So there's no choice. You must be part of that course. And then this workshop person, staff member, works with the college Indian instructor to coordinate the activities of the workshop with the course. Contextualized support. This is the outcome of this. Look at the gains. In a co-requisite model, students taking English 101 were 34% more higher pass rates than students in a similar course without it. Why? Because all of them had to go. And they saw each other all the time in multiple sections. And this workshop, I'll tell you, is run as a cooperative teaching group. I'll go into it. There wasn't another passive boring lecture. That's what you see. A second way of contextualizing this one, a third way, is by the way you link a course, support course, with a content course. Here. This comes from a college in New York City. And you can talk from my language. I was born in London. You're supposed to laugh at that. I'm a New Yorker. Ask me how to pronounce the word W-A-T-E-R. You know what you'll hear? Water. I don't speak funny. In this case, the English instructor is using the accounting textbooks to teach English. This is for international students at a college, a Warren College in New York City. A lot of international students like you have. So they're using the accounting textbooks, and these students are all in business majors. They want to know accounting. They have to for their major. They use accounting textbooks to teach English, and the accounting instructor is working with the English instructor to learn about the language skills they need, the techniques used. This works, and this is why. This is this quote of the student. The relationship between accounting and ESL is helping a lot because the accounting professor is teaching us to answer questions in complete sentences to write better. Okay. And we are more motivated we want to learn, the word want is really, we are more motivated to learn vocabulary because it's accounting vocabulary, something we want to learn about anyway. Then this person adds the following sentences. I am learning accounting better by learning the accounting language better. You get the principle here? It's contextualization. They want to learn the English because they want to learn the accounting. The whole point of contextualization is to tell you you need to learn the skill because you have interest in doing this. Too much of our skill, academic support is decontextualized. They'll say, why do I have to learn this? Well, you have to make it learn. So, that's academic support. But of course, by the way, you have any questions about the social support program? Let me urge you to go to the website of Complete College America. Write it down. Complete College America. CCA. Complete College America. It is a big national platform that's built by Stan Jones. It all stresses the importance of co-requisite instruction among other things. They give you examples of institutions that have done this well, like the one I just gave you. You might want to call them up and say, look, we've done something with instruction. We're going to consider it co-requisite instruction. Do you have any advice? Given our situation, what would you suggest to us? Co-requisite instruction is typically a characteristic of the first-year experience. Okay, students don't learn material in the first year, everything else is threatened. Well, of course, students also need social support. By the way, here's an example. I'm reminded of this. You have students in freshman seminars, and now you're thinking about reconnecting them to another course. You know the idea that you have a student sitting in the course, and some of them sit in the seminar, or vice versa, some in the seminar also sit in the same course. That's a good idea. There's another type of contextualization. All right. Social support. Students in your situation, like a lot of colleges with first-generation students, you need a lot of social support. In fact, like myself, I had no role models to rely on to know what it is to go to college or what I needed to go to college. I just didn't have it. How could I? In my neighborhood, I grew up in New York. I was one of the few kids even went to college in my neighborhood. Oh, man. But luckily, I went to a Catholic university, I went to a Jesuit university, which explains why I'm not Catholic anymore. I can see there's some people who know this and can understand it. A lot of the Catholics don't hold the wrong code. That's why we spend so much time on counselors and advisors. Now, let me make that point. The role of an advisor, as a trained advisor, is to advise. The role of a faculty member is as much counseling as it is advising. So, however you instruct your advising program, make sure your faculty talk to your students. Students need to have some control. Role models and faculty, or not their parents. You know that. But there's many types of support. Obviously, one of them is mentoring programs. In your setting, I think mentoring programs can be particularly powerful. Think of all the athletes you recruit. I have a typical NFL class of 450, you recruit about 300 athletes, right? Something? Yeah, a year. 300 a year. Now, not all of them will end up playing sports. You recruit more athletes than you need for teams, but you provide them an opportunity to play sports. And they need mentors to not only help them know how to succeed in college. What does it mean for them if they don't end up playing in the team? How do mentors help them adjust to the fact there are alternative ways of living in college? Alternative ways of constructing college that the mentor has experienced that is usually a role model for them. They have no role models outside of sports. I know what it's like. I mean, surgery is a big time program, a big time basketball, as you know, close, not close enough. Each year they get about 100, 100. You get not as many athletes as you get, by the way. We recruit about maybe 180. These are all divisional athletes. We recruit a small number there. They all come into the orientation program. They're all 180. And we have the requisite orientation activities, and since they're not paying any attention, right, of course. What's the point of having orientation if students are paying attention? Then we have some peers who graduated from Syracuse and now out 4 years from the university were athletes themselves. Most of them will never had a chance and will never play professional football or basketball or baseball. And they'll say to students, look folks, I have lived your life, I know what it's like, let me tell you, of the whole class of 180 here, maybe 2 of you will make professional athletic sports. So take advantage now and learn the lesson I have learned. Take advantage of education because many of you will not be a pro athlete. And you know what teams think? I'll do that one. So how do you prepare to mentoring to have students when they realize they're not going to be that one? What models do they have on the students about how they manage their life? Peer mentoring. Now, if you have mentoring programs, right, as you know, you're shaking. It's a train, right? East-west train. Right? I hear you. Okay. There are programs that are really good in training mentors. Mentors need to be trained. I would urge you to consider the University of Michigan, but more importantly, the University of New Mexico each year has a conference on mentoring in Albuquerque, New Mexico. If you want to know about mentoring and successful mentoring programs and training for mentors, you should go to Albuquerque in October. It's really a wonderful program. Now, the thing about mentoring is that the mentors will hear about things that you will never hear about because students will not tell you. So mentors are also part of our reward system, folks. So when you develop a mentoring program, take mentors carefully, train them, but make sure that part of their reward system that tells you ahead of time, these students are having trouble, you should know about it. Because students will talk to the mentors, they won't talk to you, because they're embarrassed. They want to tell them no, or their parent might know they're struggling. But programs can also provide support that you as an individual cannot. And the fact is, we never have enough time to support all the students. Please don't. Excuse me. The fact is we're busy. So often you can find support by building a program out of which support arises as a condition of the program. What do I mean by that? Cohort programs, where students go through the curriculum together. Teams are like that. Teams are like a cohort, right? Learning communities are like that. That is, when students share the experience over time, support tends to arise from that shared experience. Here is a quote from a person who was, I'll get back to that. A quote from a person who had tried in this college I worked with in New York City twice before to graduate with a BA degree. She had 3 children in the house. She had no partner in the house, and she had 2 jobs to fund the family. She was low income. She tried twice to go to this college and try to get a bachelor's degree, and could not make it. The stress of the family, the stress of work was simply overwhelming. She dropped out. She came back to another college in New York City that had a learning community cohort model. And as soon as you joined the program, it was not nursing, it was a music program. You have music programs. I think you know what I'm talking about. The students went through the curriculum together. They saw each other all the time within reason. They shared courses together. I'm going to tell you a quote about what she said, and you'll get a sense of this from this video clip.
The lead class also helps freshmen who are new to the school to build relationship. And the fact that you see the same people basically in your late classes, you become more comfortable. And when you're a new student in a new school, you sometimes are a little bit apprehensive as to being more vocal within your classes. So this way, it creates a relationship where you feel secure, you feel open, where you can discuss and you can share what you learned with the class.
Yeah, it's a setting where in groups you find support and you can talk about things you can't talk to the adults. What's the point of being a teenager if you talk to the adults? There's no point. Right. Then hear this about this woman. She said in this cohort model, she not only got to this college in this cohort, she actually completed a BA degree. Now she's a law clerk in a law firm in New York City. She said this, you know, the cluster, the cohort model, we knew each other, we were friends. We discussed everything from all the classes. We knew things very, very well because we discussed it all so much. We discussed everything. Then she constructs this imagery. The program is like a raft running through the rapids of my life. You get this now. See, that the students ended up supporting each other. They would help each other within reason now. So they found support from the very nature of the shared experiences out of which support emerged. Within reason now, if you manage the group correctly, I want to add that caveat. Right. So, expectations, high and clear, support connected to classrooms, and social support allowing them to get the support they need socially to continue and make friends. You know, one of the most common things students worry about when they come to college is not what their parents think about, it's why I make friends. Well, people like me. But be on the team. They need support. The third area of focus is the area called assessment and feedback. That is to say, students will do better in college settings when the institution frequently assesses their progress, provides feedback to faculty, staff, and the students in order to trigger support when needed. The whole point of assessment is not to find out if students are struggling. You know that. To find out when they need support in order to avoid their struggles to improve their chance of success. That's why we have risk models and early warning systems. Do you have an early warning system at Tiffin? You do. A faculty member, any faculty members have used that early warning system here? Is that what you're using? Yes, please. Can you stand up and since about one's here? Can you stand up and tell us what you do? Seriously.
Well, I know I'm not the only one who's.
I thought you weren't the only one.
Yes, I just am the only one to put my hand up and talk to you. So we all have multiple opportunities to notify, work the academic center. We do for athletes, 4-year progress report, we do a 10-day census where we say who's in, who's not, who's out. We have multiple opportunities within the self-service and information system to plan.
Good. So you have a system where you can give feedback to a staff member or someone.
And the students.
And to the students. And what happens when you give that feedback?
Both athletic and it's low, and they'll have a dialogue with the what they can do to run labs.
Okay, run laps?
Yes. And if it is a different report, then they're on hold for registration until they meet with their faculty. And in their first year class, they have to meet with their faculty in the first year class.
I think, have you been able to hear that or not? Yeah. Next time we might try, I apologize for this. Let me make a point. The secret of effective early warning systems is that it's early. This is another one of those we references about which academics might post about, the obvious. So it's very important. The longer you wait to provide feedback and intervention, it's not feedback, it's intervention, the harder it is to succeed. In fact, if you wait typically to the midterm of a course to intervene and provide support, for many students it's already too late. So the trick of early warning is indeed it must be early with immediate response. The challenge of that is it takes a lot of work. There's no mystery in this. I think I spent I spent a week at Michigan State University last month. You know the size of the freshman class so like? The freshman class is as large as your university. How do they do that? They can't. So it's increasingly happening using technology, folks. On one case, your web pages, you have that, right? A web page, and you check off the web page. But most faculty don't do that. It's too much work. So they actually develop analytic technological systems that alert you and the institution when students are struggling. Using this, look up Purdue University, the Signals Project. Purdue University, the Signals Project. On the online world, since you're a bilingual university or online university, you're a face-to-face university, CVTOS has a program called Illumina that looks at students' engagement with the learning management systems and alerts you right away when students have signs of errors. You need to get, the reason why this matters is you need to get the students early. The earlier the better. Now, the trick is not to have students believe that they only one struggling in their class. I said to you before, students have to internalize this, it's just me. By one person, I thought it was just me struggling in physics. All the kids are struggling in physics. So I told you this became physicists. It's make sure that when you reach out to students, you say, look, we have indications that you may be struggling. Like other students in class, you don't think the college in the first year, they struggles. What can we do about it? That's what you're doing. And the system that uses early morning, 6th grade courses go up. But they go up because students don't get just an email. Like, Vinny, you're struggling, and I say to myself, yeah, I know that. I know I'm struggling. But someone proactively reaches out. That means you support staff member and the fact that you have to proactively reach out to the students right at the end of class or sometime during the first semester early. Hey, Vinny, I see you do so well in that test. Anything you know that might be able to help you with? That's all. That's what you do. Early warning. Now, in classrooms, there are many forms of early warning in the classroom. How many faculty here? Can you raise your hand? Good, okay, let me, if you've met with the folks in student affairs and staff, how many people know the 1 minute paper? How many of you used what's called the 1 minute paper, the money's point? Oh, good. I'm going to play in a minute. I'm going to play this quick game. I'm going to, and everyone will participate. It's not just faculty, and all of you already know the answer to the question. I'm going to tell you what a 1 minute paper technique is like. And I'm going to tell you what I did. I just retired from Service University. They finally got rid of me. Much as seems clean. And I'm going to tell you this because the evidence is quite clear that 1 minute papers improve learning in the classroom. It's very clear. And I'll tell you what I do. Now the game is, I'm going to tell you what I do, and you're going to tell me why it works. Okay? Even though you've never used this technique, you already know that this technique works. And this is the principle of feedback. At the end of the class, I taught 2 classes a week, 15 weeks, I taught 30 classes in every semester. And typically out of 20 to 22, I use the 1 minute paper technique, and this works. I say at the end of the class, okay, students, take out a piece of blank paper. I do not want your name on it. In 2 sentences, I want you to answer 2 questions each, 2 sentences for each question. 1, is there one thing you found interesting about which you'd like to learn more? Say something. Like, why do you dress that way, Tinto? More important, it's called the raise point. Is there one thing in particular among the 40 things, one thing in particular you found confusing that you need clarification on? That's called the raise point. At the end of the class, they come, papers, no names. They put it in a box. I don't stand in front of them. I don't want students to feel like I'm watching that. Then at the end of class, I talk to some students before and after class. Personal contact with students really matter before and after class. And then I go to my office, sit down on my Apple computer, and I have Apple stock. You have to buy Apple. I have Apple computer, by the way. And I go through these papers. I typically have a test about 50, 60 students, maybe 50. And I take about a 30% sample, even 40% sample, 20 papers. I just scan them, go through them. And I write down the issues, the most common issues or the most common confusions. I pick up the 3 most issues mentioned and the 3 most common confusions. I sit down on my computer and I generate on my laptop, Apple, a 1-page, 2-sided document that goes over the 3 issues that they might teach me. I say, have you thought of this? Look at this reference. Or more importantly, I spend a paragraph on trying to clarify the 3 funniest points. I put it out on listserv. We have listservs for all our courses. And we have the web page for all our courses. On the web page, on listserv, at the beginning of the very next class, I take the first 5 minutes to go over the 3 funniest points. Now I do it roughly 20 to 22 times over the semester. The same technique. That improves learning of the course content in every course typically that is used. That's the evidence. Now, you're going to tell me why. Where's that microphone? Here's the microphone. Please. You're in shape. You can run around. Now you're in good shape. So, who wants to start off? Give me a reason why this technique called the early morning 1 minute paper works. Come on, folks. Please. You Please start with your name, right? Stand up.
It's anonymous
Anonymous. Why does that matter?
because students are uncomfortable placing the name on something that a professor may interpret as being critical.
And why are they uncomfortable?
There's grades that say things.
That's exactly right. They're worried about the consequence of their grades. So what you're concerned about is getting valid information that they'll tell you, and they'll tell you if they know that you don't know who's going to put it down. So what you're concerned about, you'll give up personal identification for valid information. You need to know what they are looking to tell you. Thank you. Why else does it work? So first you're learning what they really don't know, not what they want you to know. This gentleman here, with the microphone. You have to stand up, sir. It's called physical therapy and communication.
Hello. It's interactive.
How so?
Well, they write something just like they will act with a computer game, and you're responding.
And how
It's very
soon?
quick. Yeah.
Rapid, early warning and feedback. I'm concerned about not letting the confusion go from one class to another. That improves already. Good. What else improves already? What else, Holmes? Think about it.
The student is assessing their own understanding of what they are trying to learn.
That's right.
And it's very fast.
You're hearing their voice in a way a test would not give you. You're learning about what they understand the material and what they may misunderstand about the material in a way that's valid to some study. That means you're learning something about them you would learn from an exam. Tell them right or wrong. You don't want right or wrong, you want to understand it. Right? Good. What else? Let's go over it. You do it every class, most classes, and what happens? They come to expect that you're going to do it again. And what happens in class? Think about it. If they know you're going to do the same thing as in this class, oh, never changes. Good. What do you think they'll start doing? It's called paying attention. No, it's not conscious, folks. We know subconsciously they're saying, I know, but not. It's called critical listening. It is not perfect. Oh, please, there's nothing perfect about this. When you're generating an environment where they start questioning their own ability to learn. And that's what you want from a learner. Right? Then you repeat it. So people who thought they know it, they heard it again. Now, the trick is what happens to you as a faculty person. You've done it before, tell me. Back there, who's used the one-minute paper? Can you stand up, please? No one wants to stand up now. Come on. Yeah, stand up. Let me give the microphone. We had a chance to meet before. Yeah, fine.
Well, I thought because you said that you talked with students before and after class, that you show compassion to building relationships with them. So the more interaction they have with you, the more compassion that you have for what you do and to teach them, they're going to be receptive for the information that you're going to give them.
Yeah, we hope. Right.
That's right.
But what happens to you when you get this feedback of what they don't know?
We know the improvements that we need to make.
Bingo. The one-minute paper is a form of a shared dialogue between you and the students that use what they don't know and use what you're not doing well. That's the linkage that makes the one-minute paper work. Same linkage that makes your many clickers work. It's a shared dialogue. And when the students see is that she cares enough about her learning, she's willing to modify and adjust her learning to help me. And when that happens, students want to learn in that classroom. See, that's the trick. It's not just assessment, it's a shared dialogue about learning and teaching. Our job as faculty is not to teach students, it's to help them learn. And help us learn how to help them learn better ourselves. And we don't have that too often enough. So that it's a very simple technique, but it's very deeply powerful. So we have this assessment technique, right? Thank you. You know, I don't have that problem. I'm a perfect teacher. I don't have that problem. The things I don't, the irony of this focus, like I'll talk about faculty members here. You and I come from a medial system that has put us at a disadvantage. As opposed to elementary, middle, and high school teachers who are trained and certified to teach. We've been placed in colleges and universities that ask us to teach when we've never been trained to do so. think about how we prepare all of us, myself, you, and all future faculty, to come to a college and be able to acquire the skills they may not have acquired before the level of how students learn. We as faculty must demand it of ourselves and of the institutions. They help us in the same way they help the students. I have my PhD in University of Chicago. What do I learn about teaching methods? Zero. What do I learn about curriculum development? Nada. What do I learn about assessment student learning? Zilch. Different language for the same concept. What makes me a qualified teacher? I have a PhD in that. Good. Give me a break, folks. But that's something we had carried that burden. We never really had pretty prepared. Now, that's not to say there's many talented teachers, that's not the point. It's a matter of preparation. We also have to require co-requisite as we go along. Okay. So, assessment. Now, if you do assessment in the residence halls too, there's a whole set of assessment programs in residence halls. Hall monitors are very good at assessing student struggles. At Syracuse, we had trained our resident hall directors and all the 4 monitors to go around the rooms looking for signs of student struggle. Lack of attack, we call it. You know what we did? The student ever leave the room? No. Problem. The student ever in the room? No. Problem. Maybe. The student ever put more attachments on the walls? No attachments at all. Maybe a problem. No sense of ownership of the place. Students go home every weekend with their laundry. Yeah. Maybe a problem. The parents come to the dorm room every week. Oh, real problem. So we use hall monitors to be our early warning system. So, third. Finally, and fourth, surprise, surprise, engagement matters. The simple fact is all the research is crystal clear. Students who are more engaged with other students are more likely to learn, persist, and want to stay. Because engagement matters to them. Now let me be clear, it's not any engagement. It's the perceptions that students drive for their engagement of their belonging in the institution. Students need to develop a sense of belonging. If they don't belong, why would they want to stay? The answer is they don't. 2. Since the importance of engagement and belonging is education, not just persistence, the type of engagement that is learned most through learning is engagement with other students in and outside the classroom in learning activities. That drives engagement that matters for learning. Now, that is not just studying, folks, sitting at a chair or desk by yourself. Learning activities is a more broadly defined notion. The more time you spend with other peers in learning environments struggling with problem issues, the more you learn, and the more you want to learn. That's why so many institutions are worried about all sorts of things that affect engagement, activities and orientation, seminars that are cooperatively taught, learning communities, cohort models, teaching methods. You go through the list. We worry about how we produce more and more engagement in ways that foster their sense of belonging and foster their willingness to learn together because it's part of their education. This is a quote from a first-year student at Urban College in Los Angeles. So by his first-year classes, like all these students, you see, you have residents who are residents. You're lucky, he's a resident student here. These students can read this college. And he says this about the use of engagement techniques in classrooms. The more I talk to the people about the class stuff, the homework, the tests, the more I should learn. Bingo. And the more I learn not only about other people, remember these are 18-year-olds, they want social identity, but also about the subject, because their brain is getting more, because I'm getting more involved with other students in the class. You notice he's equated getting his brain engaged with social engagement. These are 18-year-olds. Some days they'll actually grow up. You might think about that. getting more involved with the class even after class. Students who engage in peer group settings, where they collaborate with each other on learning activities, they're likely to spend more time together out of class. And often they'll spend more time on learning activities out of class. So they carry class with them. It's the same principle why students or members of the team have higher graduation rates. It's the reason why the School of Music does so much better than a lot of other schools.
But since we did it, and we did it hands-on, we had to make our own, it really stuck in my head, and it really, I understood it, and I understood the process. I mean, you don't make those connections without actually doing it and seeing it yourself. You don't make the connection between the real world and the course material.
Real world. Here's the other principle. Learning is more effective when students have to apply the learning with other students to solve real world problems. Problem-based learning in your environment, given so much of the technology and vocational programs you have, problem-based learning and project-based learning should be a given. Because it says we have to together form groups of students, not only learning material, but apply it to a meaningful problem, like learning English to do accounting.
And what makes it more fun and engaging is, I think, is when they devise group projects, and you want to learn with them, you want to, get to talk to them, get to learn together more and advance together.
You know, she said he wants to advance together. That's the secret of increasing completion in Tiffin College, among many things. How do you act so more students want to persist and graduate and become a Tiffin graduate? And one of the settings which you construct for that, we say we want to continue to do that. High expectations, support, assessment and feedback, the trigger support, and forms of engagement that you structure and do not leave to chance, folks. The fact is, we too often leave students the option of being involved or not. I say you don't make it optional. If you know something would benefit students, why would you leave it to the students to choose to do it or not? So many of the colleges that might serve as a model for you, they've bitten the bullet and said, okay, students must be involved in cooperative activity. Their classrooms must be using cooperative teaching their first year, as best we can. Students must be sharing activities where they apply their skills as best we can. Doing that will increase participation. And doing it in an environment where they feel they belong matters. Again, if you don't feel belong, why would you stay? All right. Spend too much time on this. We have quite a bit of time left. Now we're going to do a 1-minute paper. And I took you through the exercise, you know the technique. I want you each of yourself take out a piece of paper if you want to. Don't put your name on it, but you say that's everybody. It's relevant. Say to yourself, it says one issue I want to discuss that you mentioned. Was it something was unclear to me to like clarification on? So do for yourself. Just take all three here, and then just take a minute, no more than that, just a minute. And then go around the table and share your 1-minute papers with your colleagues. At the table. And discuss the things you identify as issues or questions. Then I want each table to come up with an issue or a question. And I'll take as many questions from the audience that together we will respond to, okay? Okay, what is one issue? What is the question? Discuss it, and the table will come up with one thing they want to pose to all of us. You got it? Let's do it.
We'll be at softball tomorrow.
and try to, as best we can, come up with each table as best we can, a question or issue you'd like to raise. And as best we can, we'll try to respond to as many as possible. We'll start on this side of the room first, because I don't want to wear out the people carrying microphones. They're not carrying speakers, they don't have hard figures on them. So we'll start with this side of the room and then move to the next side. So take 1 minute, make sure you have an agreement on what issue you'd like to raise, and then we'll start taking those questions or issues. Okay? 1 minute. So, let's take several tables from the, I don't know which is the left or right side. From this side of the room, who wants to start? Which table wants to start with a question or a statement or an issue? Good. Can you move ahead to the microphone? Since you volunteered, someone stand up who's been volunteered.
Thank you, Kelly.
Your name, sir?
What we were wondering about is the model seems to be fairly well proven and represented. So what about the online environment?
Thank you. So, that's right.
Sorry.
The principles of effective student success in face-to-face environments are the same that exist online, except online is much more difficult to do. That's the fact. So, online students have the clear expectations required of their courses, how to succeed, what's required of them. Now, in the online environment, it's all about the classroom online. There's no campus to speak of. What support do they get online to help deal with the requirements of that class? What assessment and feedback mechanisms do you get as an instructor to know who's struggling in order to provide assistance or connecting to assistance online as you can? And what sort of cooperative techniques do you use? Now, when I say cooperative, folks, let's be clear. Cooperative education and teaching is not group work. Group work. We all experience group work as students. Faculty member says to us, 4 people get together and do a paper. That's all she says to us. What happens, folks? 1 or 2 do it, and 2 or 3 freeload. That's not effective group work, nor is effective education. So in a cooperative classroom, the faculty member has to construct groups where they select the group, not the students self-select themselves. Give each person in the group a, how many people are trained in cooperative teaching here? Anybody trained in cooperative teaching here? No? Well, if you have any experience with high school teaching at all, you know this technique. Students have to assign roles in a group. Each person has to be a part of the group task. It could be a problem that they have to solve together. It could be a project. It could be a class activity they have to do together. And you have to monitor each of those students' performance. And the group assess itself. That is a lot of work online. That's why success rates online courses tend to be lower than face-to-face classes. But among those who succeed in online classes, typically adults who do better than the younger students. Because they have a chance to correct it. They tend to be more responsible. But the same principles apply for clear expectations, high expectations, support, assessment and feedback, and engagement online in group activities which are cooperative. Same issue. But it's much harder to do, and the problem is the technology is not up to what we need. The bandwidth we face issues. It That is, think what corporations have. They have this conferencing technology. You can be in various parts of the country, all the world, and you see each other sitting around the table. And you talk this way, across the table. You can't do that yet. Who can do that? But it's much harder to do it. How many people taught online? Here. It's a hell of a lot of work, folks. I thought it was easy until I tried doing it. And then when students ask you a question online, they expect you to answer like that. Hey, I'm 74, I'm asleep at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, folks, give me a break. It's a lot of work. Of course, yeah, people adjunct teaching online who probably in different countries. It's hard work. But it provides an opportunity for students to be part of our education that would otherwise not have the opportunity. So, same principle. But if you want to look at an example of a good online institution, look at Rio Salado in Arizona. Rio Salado, complete online college. Well, mostly it's a secure college, but it has students like you. Rio Salado. Another question or comment? Question, sir, stand up, microphone, please. Sorry.
Academic advisor, can you clarify for us your position on the better model? The professional advisor or the faculty member?
Next question, please. No, both. I'll tell you what I mean. No, it's not. This is what people at NACADA, the big National Association of Academic Counseling and Advising, would argue. In the ideal world, we want a blend of professional advisors and faculty advisors in the following model. For first-year students, you want people who are literally trained in advising, trained as a professional skill, who know career advising, who know developmental advising for undersized students, who have complete and accurate access to all the curriculum and requirements. Beginning students need that sort of concrete, effective information. But they tend to then place in each program a faculty member who becomes the faculty program advisor for the program as part of his or her load. And that faculty development center, student advisory center, works with the faculty as liaisons. And in time, they hand over the students to the programs in the second year and beyond. That does not mean that all faculty don't advise. All faculty need to advise, but they need to talk to students. Faculty need to be freed from the obligation of knowing the coursework, knowing the requirements, because often they don't. Knowing how to advise undecided students, because often they're not trained. So there are three types of advisors. Professional advisors, typical for the first year students. Trained program advisors who advise that program. And all of the faculty who sit down and talk to students as advisors or counselors. Need to talk to students. So it frees the faculty to do what they do best, talking to the students. That's the model, I think, the kind of best recommend. And I think you can do that here within reason. Yeah. Advising is a professional skill. We as faculty are not trained in teaching nor advising. It's not a skill they take lightly. It's not to blame the faculty, but faculty is in every substance or advising and innovation. One other question from this side of the room. One other question for another table? Yes, one more. Can you stand up and give this young lady a young lady? I don't know. Fancy fingernails, that's not the first.
We talked a bit about the advising. We also, not necessarily clarification, but the midterm grading and reporting issue and doing that earlier in the semester. Right now we do that after the 7th week, which means, yeah, right, that's what we talked about. So how do we, what is the right time? We've talked about, is it 4 weeks in? What happens if there's not enough assessment in the course at 4 weeks? What do you suggest in terms of when we should be reporting the grades for intervention?
Whatever works. My principle is you need to find out as soon as it's reasonable to do so if students are having difficulty. In the first year, often you attach the key gateway courses to peer mentors. Because often the peer mentor here is instructing before you will see it in the course. Better yet, you should probably plan to do mini exams, do small little exams early. That require them to turn in their exams so you can know right away whether they're in class or not. You don't have to take attendance, you can see if they turn in the papers. And they do paper grades, which can be done online, by the way. They're the singles project, everything is done online. You know right away once the exam is completed, in the first, third week, second week, whether the students are getting it or not. There's various techniques. The principle is simply, the earlier you can find out the students are struggling, the better off you are. As long as you make clear with the students, it's not just them, it's a characteristic of being a freshman. Right? They don't feel labeled or stigmatized. Okay, let's go to the other side of the room. The good side. There we have. Would the table like to pose a question or issue? Okay. Yes? If I need a microphone, please. Thank you. How did you guess I was going to answer? No idea.
Our issue was communication on campus, and our question was how do we improve faculty and staff collaboration?
Pardon me?
How do we improve faculty and staff collaboration?
Okay. The way to build collaboration is to do it. Next question. No, I'm not serious. You already have places where collaboration is a natural consequence of being able to do the program. Contextualized support. Academic support persons working with faculty. That's collaboration. The freshman seminar, we have a freshman seminar linked with a coursework to talk about academic. That's collaboration. Advising, where a professional advising a staff member works with a faculty member with a liaison, that's collaboration. You build collaboration where it's meaningful. So I mean, think of the areas where collaboration is required to make something work well for your students. You build those opportunities outward from there. Something with structure, etc. Now, it's not like you expect everybody to collaborate and have a lovey-dovey environment. Please, folks. But build upon that collaboration that improves student success and build out as a requirement of the system. So you need people's opportunities. And then you say, to be honest with this, with whom do you want to collaborate? Don't answer the question. Because not all people are good at collaboration, nor all make sense for collaboration for everybody. People are different. But some people enjoy collaboration. You already have them around you. You already have people doing around you. How do you build out from that? But I would focus on those things that are vectors of student success, that require collaboration to make it work. Sir?
So I teach economics, and one of the first laws of economics is resources are scarce. So here it's...
You mean resources are scarce? That's something I would have never guessed.
Time, space, and money. So again, not just money, but time and room space and things like that. Do you have any suggestions for us? Any examples of people who are overcoming those in a creative or innovative?
Oh, okay. This is going to take a minute. In fact, you touched on something I want to talk about. I want to answer your question, but I have to get around it to answer the question. You are faced like so many colleges, you're not alone, and limited budgets that's been only amplified by the sort of forecast, this organization in the last several years. Things are changing to this, to that, or this and that, all of a sudden being changed. That's the past. The question is, how do you generate the resources you need? Now, we use the word generate, that's the issue. Right now, your resources are limited, but how do you generate resources? Now, clearly, improving retention generates money. You know that. I can say it in different ways, but I need not to. You recruit students because you need their enrollment. Largely, tuition revenue needs to continue. But increasing completion is even a better source of revenue, because if you increase completion in the first year, as well known, the likelihood of generating revenue over 3 more years is enhanced dramatically. So investing in the first year is a form of investment that generates revenue in the second, third, and fourth year. The problem is, how do you understand the investment problem? And how long does it take to get there? students have a chance to develop. And you've been through this program, exhaustion, right? On this program, this year, you can go on, like all college, you joined what's called the Innovation of the Month Club. And each year you take 3 innovations, and next year you try another 3. At some point you say, what's the point of this? The fact is most institutions don't wait long enough to see their investment generate returns. Look, most people think the real world is like this. Over time, you invest and everything gets better. But this is a real challenge in public universities because the state requires institutions to give state year-by-year budgets. But in the real world, change and improvement does not look like a straight line. It looks like this. It's called the sigmoidal curve. And that's correct. But you know, sigmoidal sounds a little more educated. Have you seen my sigmoidal curve recently? Why are you laughing that way? It's the end of the day, folks, I'm sorry. No, but that's what it looks like. Co-requisite change, you talk about revolutionary change, growth in educational participation in higher education in the United States over time. All programs, however much you read and study, has this curve of improvement in the institution. 1. The beginning part is what's called the pilot stage. No matter how much you read and how committed you are, you'll learn in the first year or 2, oh God, I didn't think of this. Oh, we didn't think of that. Oh, it's not working right. And that's why before you give up, you say, let's now spend the next year assessing and improving what we're doing the second and third year. That's unavoidable, folks. Most people give up here when they don't see enough outcome. But it takes time to generate that outcome. So if you take this assessment here and you start investing in improvement, you eventually get to what's called the tipping point of program growth. That's when you finally got things, we got it going, we got it going. At that point, you can scale up. Because you have evidence it works. And that's what the scale up is. That's where the benefits are generated here. But it takes 4 or 5 years to finally get there. And that's the challenge for you folks. You have to think about what investments you can make that are reasonable, that you can withstand waiting for the benefits to accrue. And the benefits are increased persistence beyond the first year, and then generates revenue which outweighs the cost of the program. You know that. That's the challenge of this. So, what advice would institutions give you? Don't try to do this across the campus. Take one program, perhaps, and say, how do we improve graduation and persistence in this program? It's a more limited investment, but you see benefits generated. Then you move on. You see that? That's why most institutions deal with limited resources. They can't do everything. It can be something, and they see benefits at any time. It's not a question of your commitment or interest or dedication. It's a question, all things take time. And too often we give up too early. Conversely, we're willing to continue things that are not working, but we keep doing it. That's the issue. So not only do we not invest, we actually waste money in things that are not working, not willing to change it because it becomes a habit. Now, that doesn't mean change for change's sake. Remember I started by saying institutional success depends on an intentional, structured, coordinated, and use of data to identify issues, to improve practice or get rid of programs that don't work, and to close equity gap. That's it, right there. If I answer the question, it's a one round, if I, or you want to ask me the question? Please, go ahead.
In terms of money, I definitely like this idea.
Right. Back to office.
But I think part of it too is in terms of the space, like you talked about an English class that had something afterwards.
Yeah.
We probably don't have the space right now to say have an 11 o'clock class and then 12:30 have something afterwards, just because of the size of the room. So again, that's
Most of the size of?
because of the number of rooms we have.
Right.
Whereas all of our classrooms are used pretty much at those times. So again, just kind of thinking about.
Well, why does it have to be a classroom as opposed to just a lounge? I'm just saying, Given your environment, not what can you do is the way you ask the question. I don't want to, it's not to say you can't do this because. I want to hear what can you do in your environment. And every little game produces a chance of more game. So maybe you don't have the classroom to spare. You sit in line with students. There's concept of limits to what you can achieve. You're not the Harvards of the world who's endowment bigger than most countries and most countries in the world. But still, within the space you have, the question is what can you do to get better? And that's the principle. I didn't say you have to have a class, I said you have to have a space to go. Still limits folks. But you can't accept the present, can you? Other question? That was a long answer to your question. I think it's important to realize we tend to brush back and forth looking for the magic formula. There's no magic formula, folks. It's improvement that's our goal. And for that, there's no magic. But it does require some clear thinking about what you do. So the table? Yes, madam. Microphone, please.
Okay, so Susie is in track and band and lives on campus and has an on-campus job and obviously goes to class as a student. But one of those people that connects with her and one of her many roles on campus knows that Susie's gone through an awful breakup and she's having a really hard time. However, it affects her performance in band, track, and everything that she does. So at what point do we communicate that to each other to help support her, and at what point is it too many people involved?
Who wants to answer that question? Who wants to comment on that question? You want to hear that? It's sort of, where's the responsibility involved, at what degree do you get involved? I mean, you know something about system having an issue, right? That's the question.
Yeah, so like, if we have an early alert system, why does Jill know something, but Robert doesn't?
Well, first of all, in an early alert system, you have to have some formal structure by which information is conveyed to someone outside the classroom, separately. The question is, where does that information go? Obviously, the faculty member has to know about this, and you should struggle. He or she may not know why, they have to know whether, right? The trick of the coordination between staff member, faculty, and the students is to find out what then types of support might be useful. Right? So, therefore, the people who are the people who gain access to information from the faculty member of the early morning have to ask who among us might be a person to talk to the student to find out what the issue may be, and if in turn we have places to find support. So it leads to a conversation. Is that fair enough? I don't know how to say. Anybody want to answer that question? I think you know what the issue is. Did you hear that, folks? Yeah, you guys know why she applies?
I think it depends on the issue, right? So with something mental health related, that might be something that housing services would deal with. Depends on the issue, what the issue is, how many people at the state can get involved in that to help the student. So who can actually provide a service to help that student?
So typically, the person who gets information out of the faculty could be the person who then decides where in the institution. Could be financial, could be academic, could be social, could be psychological, could be health. So the person who receives it, not necessarily the person who gives the support, the person decides where the institution supports will come from, and then learn to support the person. It could be family issues. It could be health issues. It could be financial issues. So it's that job that person receives in the staff to be distributor information to locate the right service.
I understand that that's the ideal.
Sorry, microphone. Yeah, so if you could hear me.
I understand that that's the ideal, but I'm asking is like guidance. How do you suggest that we share with the like?
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? Like I do understand the ideal, but I don't think that the ideal happens all the time.
No, of course not.
How would you suggest?
Well, you have some success coaches.
Because we have things like we have like a system called MaxScan, but not everyone knows what MaxScan is or how to use it or.
Oh, why is that the case? Why does not everybody know about it? Oh, well, that's the issue then. That you have farming, as you perceive it to be, but people don't know about what various reasons there are. But don't give it a chance. Make sure the person who receives information early morning has the responsibility of getting to know and access to all the information he or she needs to distribute the information correctly. So you don't take the person who's receiving the alerts from the staff to be anyone. So if that person is anyone, they must have the resources they can locate the correct services. Communication matters. It's like having a roadmap in front of you. Okay, this person, but that means you have to diagnose what the issue is before you allocate services. So the faculty member, maybe the staff member, approaches and say, your opinion, your opinion, the faculty member says that you're struggling in class, anything you need to know. It's just an adjustment issue. And the first period, if I have that sort of a diagnosis, if you will, what the issue may be. And again, it's improvement, it's not perfection, folks. One last question. Anything else? You know, we spent almost 2 hours now, by the way, trying to convey our main issues. The bottom line, folks, is having students come to Tiffin whose experience leads them to want to stay. It's not retention that matters, it's students' willingness, motivation to want to stay and compete and to become a Tiffin graduate. And I know a lot of kids don't want to leave Tiffin. Right? What can you learn from their experience that tells you what other students should also experience? Have you done that? I can tell you the sense of being a valued member of a community. When people care about you as a person, it matters greatly to other people.
It's really, really like a community. And, you know, the old saying is it takes a village to raise a child. Everybody in the village is helping out. And it goes from, you know, deans, president, down to career services, people in student life. And I think that they do just a phenomenal job of making you feel like you want to be a part of this.
Want to be a part of it. Now, there's only so much you can do. You're not going to solve all the issues facing you, but you can make an improvement if you realize what students need to feel. And how you in turn, not use a faculty, not this supports that, but everyone they meet. Know the messages conveyed through those meetings about people feeling they belong from the top down. And when you have students who feel that, more students will want to come to them because they want to experience the same thing. They may not want to go to Ohio State. That's so big you get lost and you don't know anyone because it's too big to know anyone. They want to come to a place where they can really make friends and learn together and feel they belong. It's true for all of us, folks. I hope you have a good afternoon, folks. I hope it's been useful. Thank you. I know these settings are not the most intimate settings, but I want you to take down the email address should you have any questions. I'm going to send you, whether you want it or not, I'm going to send you the PowerPoint version of this so you see all the institutions I refer to. I talked about the AACU project, 44 institutions. Jordan Gardner has a program called Foundations of Excellence. John was here 2 years ago, right? It's a wonderful program, look into it. But I want to leave you my email address. If you have any questions, please email me. I have an Apple computer that works. It doesn't work. You know, folks, when I touch a computer using Windows, I get allergies. I get a high infection. It's Tinto, Tinto, at syr.edu. And I do answer my email, folks. Okay. So please, if there's anything I can do, I don't know what I can do except give you names of people and places to look for. Email me, folks. Thank you.
Can I get a round of applause for our speakers?
John Mawari and his team, when we were talking about faculty development, how could we build our Center of Teaching Excellence, and how could we work with what we were doing, the innovation that we wanted to look at. John was the one that came to me and said, what can we do during our typical academic affairs business hours? And we were looking to fill those hours, you know, we have those on certain Wednesdays. And he said, well, let's talk about student success. Well, who's the expert? Well, it's Tinto. So he's the one that reached out. And I said, gosh, if we can get in here, let's do that. So John's the one that brought this name, brought the initial contact, set us up for that. And when I was talking to the cabinet, we said, we gotta blow this up. This is good stuff, all the way through the system. So I have to give credit where it's due, John. And then and Vince does answer his email because we've been emailing a lot. So please reach out. He's given us, I told him when we put the agenda together, we were going to abuse it today. And we have. He has met with just about every division, different staff members, and in addition to the faculty. And he's given us a ton of information today. A lot of websites, a lot of experts, and he said, you know, just reach out and say, hey, send me. So we're going to do that. System experts out there as we look about the things that we need to improve and to take a look at. But I need to thank him. So it's a very small token of our appreciation. And we need to get him back on the road because he's got to fly out of here and get back to San Francisco. So again, thank you very much. Lisa probably wants a picture.